Hey, I'm JR. That's Zach, presented and brought to you by FanDuel here on the Big Ten Huddle. And we have an emergency breaking news podcast. Breaking news. This was like 2 hours ago, but okay, we got families. We're trying to do our best here. All right. But we appreciate all of you being in here with us as Sherrone Moore, the Michigan head coach, has been fired from Michigan with cause. So there's, definitely some drama to talk about there. Not exactly happy drama at all, but very interesting stuff. Zach, what were you doing when you saw this? What are your initial thoughts? Just let us know what you're thinking.
What I'm thinking, well, I was making dinner and we had guests over for dinner. And then you texted me, and then my good buddy Chris Ebersol texted me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." So, yeah, I'm just amazed right now. Also, my screen's freezing up on my end, so I'm sorry if. There we go. Okay, it's back. Um,
Well,
but yeah,
I will. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
yeah, no, I mean it's there was smoke that this something like this was coming, but my mentality is there's a lot of things that are thrown around. We'll see what sticks. Well, this stuck, and
Yeah.
it's sad and it sucks. I feel, if what is being reported is true, I feel awful for his family, and I
Hmm.
feel awful for these Michigan players. And it's like I don't feel sorry for Sherrone Moore. I'll put it
No,
that way. But
no.
I like, but again, we're hearing like it seems like it's true, but we still need to make sure 100%, right? We don't
Yeah,
want to
it's still
speculate.
it's still technically allegedly because number one, like Michigan didn't come out with a statement and say that it happened, and number two, like there's not a ton of details being presented. There's definitely stuff on Twitter and some people that kind of live in the rumor world, which I'm not disparaging them at all by talking about that. We discuss rumors on here all the time, but they're talking about it a lot. So essentially what happened here, Sherrone Moore was fired about a month ago, really right after the Ohio State game. So not even a month ago, maybe a week or two ago, right after the Ohio State game. Some rumors started getting floated out there that Sherrone Moore was, he was having a relationship with one of his staff members, and there was rumors that she had gotten pregnant, and that was one of the big things out there. Now the rumors are just going all over the place, recruiting visit stuff. He followed these people on Instagram, so obviously you could probably go about as far and deep as you want with the rumors. At this point, but that's like the big one here, and the interim head coach will be Biff Poggi for
Mm.
Michigan. And I got to say, we can talk about the rumors here in a second, Zach. But if I'm a Michigan fan, I I feel better about Michigan's chances in the bowl game with Biff Poggi as head coach than I do with Sherrone Moore. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I, if we're just talking football, I actually think it is a better thing. We saw them play
Yeah.
better under Biff Poggi. Like I think that is a discernible observation.
Hmm. Very true. Very true. Oh, we do have some people here in the chat with us. We're not at our normal 9 p.m. time on Eastern time, but appreciate you all being here. Max says you shouldn't cheat on your spouse and you shouldn't cheat, and football is bad, but cheating on your partner and potentially breaking apart your family is a whole different level. Hope his family is doing okay. Yes, definitely want to hope his family's doing okay. And then Max is also saying the thumbnail for this video. Zach is laughing. I did not even think about that when I put that on. It's the only picture I have of Zach. So
We need to get a new picture. We need to get a few more pictures of me
yeah,
because
we'll have to get one of you making like a surprise face or something.
yeah, or just we're just gonna
Yeah,
face palm
yeah.
because
Face
this is
palm. There we
face.
go.
I mean, it's more than face palm worthy. I
Yeah,
Max did say that Michigan said their investigation concluded it happened. Rumors don't count for cause. That's a good point. So
gotcha.
this is legitimate. This happened.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think like her name was put out there and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Like, I don't think the
that's true.
details, but yeah, there was cause. Yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Good point. Me 36391 says breaking news: Satan released a statement. I think we know who Mia is a fan of. Are we really surprised? You think she got the job because of her skis as an admin assistant? LOL. I mean, it was very, very interesting once you found out that like she got the job as the assistant to the assistant or the executive assistant to the head coach after all that happened. So definitely once you started connecting all the dots, you could definitely figure out names and all that stuff, if you wanted to. And Philip, as much as I do enjoy drama, I don't enjoy the drama of breaking
Yeah.
apart one's family and everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is drama nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, I know we're going to talk about where does Michigan go from here, but I think it's just helpful to note this is not primarily like the reason why he's fired is not because of a football thing. Like I think it's okay to like talk about the deficiencies of a football coach because of their bad football coaching, right? Or bad leadership. I think that's okay. This is something though that like this should break, like Michigan should not get made fun of because of this. And I say this as an Ohio State guy, but like this is not something where you say, "Oh, Michigan, hot, that's funny." Same thing when Mel Tucker got fired. Like people wanted to dunk on Michigan State. And it's like, guys, this is way bigger than that. This stinks. It's destroying a family. It is destroying like it's gonna crush a whole program possibly. And it sucks that it's this thing that made this like it's his failure, his moral failure that's going to destroy a lot of lives.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely a place to, discuss, our morals and who they impact and everything else. And I definitely think that all of that needs to be considered. I also know Twitter, and I just know how Twitter kind of goes crazy. And I'm not endorsing how crazy Twitter can go, but let's go ahead and move into like what comes next for Michigan, because obviously this is a juicy story, a lot of rumors and stuff like that. And I'm going to be honest, if you want to go someplace and figure out more about all that stuff, just go search some stuff on Twitter, and I'm sure you can get very deep into the weeds with all of
Yeah, but don't do that.
Um,
We're not advocating that.
no,
I'm
not. I'm just saying
I know
you're not going to
you're
find
not,
that
but
here.
I'm just making it clear. We're not advocating that. Please don't do that.
Yeah. So who are some names to watch here possibly for Michigan, Zach? There's obviously were a lot of names that were mentioned around for Penn State that I think you can mention here for Michigan. I do think it's very interesting that a lot of people always said that Matt Campbell's like destination job was Michigan, and just less than a week ago. Was it less than a week? Yeah, less than a week ago, he's going to Penn State. He just had his opening press conference on Monday. So, a lot of interesting stuff there. I don't think Michigan would be able to pull off like taking Matt Campbell away from Penn State, nor do I think Matt Campbell would want to really be involved in this because, like you said, this is something that's not going to be a great reflection on the program. And I do wonder how much that is going to impact the coaching search. So when you had a chance to digest this, Zach, who were some of the names that you felt like were maybe realistic options for Michigan to look at?
So I'm gonna say one name. I know you have a bunch of names, but there's one name in particular that I think people will mock. I would mock at first, but the more I think about it, the more I actually think it might fit fairly perfectly. And that's Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, I believe Grand Valley State it's a Michigan school, I believe.
Yes. Yes,
yeah, right. So he's coached at Grand Valley State, won 2 Division II national championships there. He coached at Central Michigan for 3 years. He coached at Cincinnati and Notre Dame. So he's familiar with the Midwest. He was in on Bryce Underwood, which that's the biggest thing you have to realize. They want to keep him in Ann Arbor. And like Brian Kelly has not been good at a lot of things, but he's done a decent job of developing quarterbacks. So I'm not saying it's the perfect hire, but it does make a lot of sense for them. Like that would be the name. My guess is nobody's thinking about it because Brian Kelly just got fired from LSU. But I could see that being a decent landing spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Michigan, you need to go after somebody that you can bring in quick, right? Because the portal does open on January 2nd, and the portal is going to open 5 days after your head coach is hired. You want to try and get this out there as quick as, or get the hire done as quick as you possibly can, so that way he can talk to these players and not have them enter the portal. That's like one of the big things because I think Friday is the day that Penn State players could start technically entering into the portal. And obviously, like I said, January 2nd is the time when everybody can. But you want to get this hire done at the very least before that point, so that way you can hold on to guys like Andrew Marsh, Bryce Underwood. Like, what was one of the biggest talking points of this Michigan team all season long? How young they are, how much potential they have, how much talent they have that just needs to
Mhm.
be developed and move on. And that was one of the biggest criticisms of like me and other people of Sherrone Moore was, can he actually develop? Like, yes, he comes from Jim Harbaugh, but can he develop like Jim Harbaugh can? And I didn't see a whole lot of development of Bryce Underwood throughout the year. You're going to want to go out and get you a coach who can develop and who is going to be able to coach QBs. I don't think they're going to go after a defensive coordinator. I don't think they're going to go after a defensive guy. I could see maybe one or two defensive guys they might go after, but those guys would have to have really good relationships to be able to bring somebody on staff. Brian Kelly obviously has had really good quarterback coaches in his time, so he's definitely a name you need to think about. Jesse Minter is a defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. He's a name you need to think about. However, I don't know if the university would go to another Jim Harbaugh assistant. I would think you'd want to kind of put the Jim Harbaugh stuff behind you a little bit,
Yep.
especially with how this hire of Sherrone Moore went. Because you hang on to the Jim Harbaugh stuff, and I think it's just more of hanging on to all those things. James brings up Bryant Haynes. He was another name I thought of, but like I don't know if Bryant Haynes has the connections to bring in a really good quarterback coach for Bryce Underwood, right? I think that's one of the biggest things.
Can I also just mention why
Unless
would
it's Tino
Brian
Sinceri. Maybe he
why
brings in Tino Sinceri.
why would Brian Haynes go to Michigan right now when there's all this fire?
I don't think he would. I think that's the
Like
big thing. Yeah.
and so Brian Kelly to me makes sense because he just got fired and he's looking for a job. But listen, this and the NCAA stuff, which I know it wasn't substantial, but it just there's this kind of there's got to be like some sort of stain right now on Michigan, right? Which I hate to
Mm-hmm.
say, but like if you're a high level coach that has a secure job, whether you're a coordinator or a head coach, why on earth would you go to Michigan as the head coach right now?
Bryce Underwood. That's pretty much it. They do have talent. They have Bryce Underwood, but I agree with you. I think the issues outweigh the benefits at this point. Philip and a couple other people in the chat brought it up that Minter does have a show cause. So the way the show causes work are very interesting. If you really, really want to, you can still hire a coach who has a show cause. You just have to show cause for why they are your coach. Basically, you have to do a whole bunch of extra stuff. So, yes, I don't think Jesse Minter is going to happen. Number one, because of the DC thing, but also number two, because of the show cause stuff that you guys are bringing up. That's a good point. But they technically could. Like, it's not like he's like
Yeah.
banned from college football. But typically, what you have to do to hire one of these coaches does typically kind of ban them. So,
Yeah.
and then Jacob says, you said earlier that he was fired / investigation after the Ohio State game. I never heard of anything of that sort. Was that a misphrase? So I or
Go
did you want
ahead.
to say something?
I was just gonna say we've heard smoke since the Ohio State game.
Yeah, there were rumors of like misconduct of Sherrone Moore and stuff like that. He was not fired. I didn't, he was not fired until today, but it sounds like once the rumors came out, then they started looking into things a little bit more. At least that's what's like being reported behind the scenes type of stuff. I wouldn't, it's not like Pete Nakos and guys like that reporting it. It's kind of like, you know, more lore guys reporting it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Excuse me. Sorry, guys, I'm a little sick today, so working through that. Some other names. Kalen DeBoer was one that everybody's bringing up quite a bit. My issue with Kalen DeBoer, and really, like, there's a number of guys on this list like that. Kalen DeBoer, Mike Shanahan from Indiana, guys like that. I heard somebody say Nick Sirianni from the Eagles. He has Michigan connections. I believe he's from Toledo. So there's some stuff like that. But my issue with those are like all of those guys have timing issues because of the playoffs. I don't think Michigan's going to hire any of these coaches or assistant coaches from the playoffs because I don't think any of them are going to be able to do both their role for the current playoff team and be able to go be Michigan's head coach. Like we're seeing Brian Hartline do that right now for Ohio State and USF, and that's already very hard. And that's USF, a group of 5 team, right? USF is not Michigan. I don't think you're going to be able to split that and make that happen. There's a reason why Lane Kiffin wasn't trying to make that happen with Ole Miss, and why his assistants weren't trying to make that happen with Ole Miss and LSU. It's too big of a job.
Yeah. Just to appease our buddy Sean, I did not kick our guests out. They just knew they had to leave before 7:00. He just said, I'm behind on the live, but just heard Zach mentioned he had guests over when he heard the news. How did they take getting kicked out? They were not kicked out, but I did put a time limit.
I just see Zach assembling some quesadillas in the kitchen. He's like, yeah, tell them they got to leave. Sherrone Moore just got fired. I got to go podcast about it.
That's not how we roll. We do hospitality first, and then we pod. That's how we do it.
That makes sense.
That's how we do it.
Some other names that I thought of, honestly, I think this one could be really good if he wants to come to college, but it sounds like he doesn't want to come to college. So I don't know, but Brian Dayball from the Giants, formerly with the Bills. I mean, he worked with Josh Allen, man. Like he was one of the reasons that Josh Allen became who Josh Allen was. And who does Bryce Underwood get compared to a lot? Josh Allen. So
there's smoke about Dayball as possibly the next offensive coordinator too for Ohio State. So like that's an intriguing storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Head coach for Michigan, offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be interesting. You buying into the Brian Kelly? You buying into the Lincoln Riley stuff? His name was floated out there a lot for Florida.
No,
I don't think he's leaving USC.
He's not leaving USC unless he can get another like a Georgia or an Ohio State. Like he's not leave. Like USC is a year or two away. If he keeps building them, they're a year away from being like in the upper tier, I think. So like, why would you leave that for Michigan? Which again, Michigan has, they're not obliterated, right? I don't want to oversell.
No, but it's just some drama going on that you don't necessarily want to be attached to.
Michigan has been the epicenter of college football drama for now the past 3 years.
And at a certain point, you just want to get rid of that, right? If you're Michigan, you want to bring in somebody who is buttoned up, going to get rid of that, and just doesn't mess with it anymore. And one of the people that would be able to do that, and I thought about his name, I didn't write it down, but I thought about his name was Mike Tomlin. Philip brought up. If Mike Tomlin leaves the Steelers this year, but the only problem with that is like Mike Tomlin's not going to lead the Steelers early to go to Michigan. So that's another timing issue. That's one of the biggest issues with this is the timing issue. You have to bring somebody in and probably before Christmas. You have to bring somebody in before Christmas. Yeah. Now maybe they have somebody lined up already, but I don't really see. I think 2 guys' names that honestly are pretty likely, and one of them's a Big Ten head coach, and I don't think the fan base would want to lose him, but he's always been kind of enthralled by Michigan. The 2 guys would be Jed Fish from Washington, and then the number 2 would be Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State. Look, I know he's at his alma mater right now, but he just lost Sam Leavitt. The guy has history of turning Sam Leavitt into somebody, turning Bo Nix into somebody. Like, I know it's not Brian Dayball with Josh Allen type of stuff, but if I'm Michigan, I'm going after somebody who is, got a really good reputation, like a Kenny Dillingham, and who has developed quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Dillingham, like the thing is, the Big 12 is ultimately a dying conference. They are not going to survive, and so Arizona State has really done well the past 2 years, but to jump ship that, and I think maybe this is a thought about what type of head coach are we looking for Michigan. I think there's a few different categories. One who is looking for another job because either A, they got fired, or B, their seat is hot. Which is why I think Kalen DeBoer could be credible, because I don't think Bama fans are too excited about him right now. But again, there's a timing issue. But like, it's either that or it's a coach that's looking for a jump to a blue blood program.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be a coach that has a secure job. It's not going to be a coach or that like a secure job at like a top 10, top 15 program. It's not going to be that. It's going to be either a fired coach who is still seen as a good coach, or a coach that is having struggles with their fan base, or it's going to be a lower level conference coach that's looking to jump up.
Mm-hmm. Dave coming in with the super chat. Thanks for the $5, Dave. Appreciate it. Do you think Minnesota should worry about PJ? He did coach at Western Michigan. Probably not. I mean, PJ's name is always out there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, PJ is definitely, the type of guy that would be buttoned up and, have some of that kind of stuff that you would want to kind of recover this stuff. But I don't think he has a track record with quarterbacks that you would want, right? I mean, it's not that he's been bad with quarterbacks, but he's not necessarily like a quarterback guru or anything like that.
Yeah.
I actually think probably the most, and we can talk about this and then we'll probably get off because I got to go. I think the most likely one we discuss is Brian Kelly. Yeah, I got to be honest.
He's the number one target,
yeah.
Which on one hand, I'm not a Brian Kelly fan. So, I mean, it helps aid my Michigan dislike. But I do think for their situation right now, you need somebody who can at least offer some stability right now. And he can do that. And he is a good head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's won a lot of games.
I mean, he wasn't good at LSU, but yes, he has history of being a good head coach. Yes.
Yeah. Well, even that though, like he had 10 wins, two seasons, he had a 9-win season. He wasn't awful. He was not good at LSU, but he wasn't awful.
Yeah, he wasn't a disaster. He wasn't Luke Fickell.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry, Luke.
Hey,
sorry,
there you
Luke.
Go. Hey, you're getting on my wavelength now.
Hey,
sorry.
You don't have to worry about me ranking Luke Fickell over Sherrone Moore now in our coach rankings.
Good. Well, right now Luke is above Sherrone.
I was seriously considering Mike Locksley or Sherrone Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to do that.
Now I don't have to do it. I don't know. It would have made for good content in a video. You imagine how many comments we would have got?
Oh my gosh. So I'll just say that two things. One, yes, Max, Brian Kelly was partially responsible. So like that could be, as much as we're saying maybe that's the best hire, maybe not because of that. That's actually a really good point, Max. But I'll just end on this. I know you probably want to end it in your own way, but I'll just say this last thought. As much as we talk about the football stuff, and that's good, say a prayer for Sherrone Moore's family, and like just be sensitive to the Michigan football program right now. Like would be my plea to our listeners that like this is not fun stuff and it sucks. And yeah, it stinks that this is why he's fired.
Oh, there's a difference between scandal of stupidity that could have been easily prevented and scandal of stupidity by a staff member that, you really had no control over what they did in their personal life, right? So there's different stuff there, but no, Connor Stallions, I don't think he can get through his show cause there, Frosty. Probably not that one. But I will just end it with this. If you hear people bringing up these names, they are unserious in talking about names for the head coach position at Michigan. Matt Patricia, Kurt Signetti, Ryan Day. Those are probably the three. Any other names we need to add to that list? Connor Stallions?
I mean, Connor Stallions is just unserious in general. Dave Portnoy. Yes. Dave Portnoy. No, it's not happening.
The amount of yelling on the sidelines that we would see.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even be allowed at all the stadiums, Dak. He could go to all the stadiums.
By the way, also unserious. Rich Rodriguez, Brady Hoke. Guys, we've seen that movie. It doesn't work.
I think Johnny heard my theme there, and he said, "I'll add to the theme." Tom Brady. Thanks, Philip.
Our
All right,
listeners did
everybody.
it. Good job, guys. Well done.
Thanks for coming in here with us for this emergency podcast discussing the firing of Sherrone Moore. I'm sure Zach and I will have more on it as you know as time goes on and stuff. And you know you can definitely check back here for updates. You know we did like a weekly thing with Penn State with their thing with Chris. I don't know if we'll do something like that here. You guys really enjoyed that. Penn State fans really enjoyed that. So we might try to do something like that again. But we'll see. I would say probably the biggest names to be on the lookout for right now are Brian Kelly, Jed Fish, Kenny Dillingham, you know, Kalen DeBoer maybe, but that's just got another timing issue there. And then I would say Brian Dayball, honestly, might be another name you look at. Three things. They have to, you know, fit the timing issue. They have to work well with quarterbacks, and they also have to kind of help restructure the, you know, not the brand. What am I saying? The perception of the program a little bit more, because the past two head coaches did not do a great job for Michigan. So we will see. But all right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here with us. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.